Hello folks, hope you're well. Yes. I popped into the church down the road because they're having this thing tonight. This New Year's Eve games thing, and tea and coffee and worship and prayer and whatever they do. Yeah. So I was speaking to him about a few things that I felt that God was putting on my mind to speak to the pastor of the church about. And yeah. So I said at the end, is Mrs. B here? He said, well, she came back on Sunday, so therefore, yeah. Good. I said, so therefore she will probably be at this thing tonight. He said, well, I don't know, maybe. I said, all right then, I won't come. That's fine. I won't be there. I said, it doesn't hurt me not to be there at all. It may hurt someone there, but it won't hurt me. Well, the reality is that when it comes down to it, he then said, you're a very clever person. He said, but to people, it does seem to them, so obviously people have been moaning about me to the pastor. He said, it does seem to them as if you're telling them that you're right and they're wrong. I said to him, well, the reality is, when it comes down to it, I'm right and they're wrong. I said, in most cases, that will be true, yes. I'm not telling this stuff for that purpose. I'm telling it because it's stuff that God has been telling me. So therefore, if it's stuff that God has been telling me, then if they've not been listening to God, well then, yeah. On most occasions, so yes, it is the case that I'm right on that stuff and they are wrong on that stuff, yes. I said, but the reality is, of course, people will get offended. I said, but when they get offended, they're going to go to God about it. Because if what I'm saying is true, they need that. They shouldn't be rejecting it because they get offended. I said, but the reality is that people have been thinking things a certain way for most of their Christian life, and then you come in and challenge that, and then you say something that says, well, actually, that's not right. People get offended by that. As I said on the one about wife, that most people do hear that. Who the heck does this person think he is? Yeah. But that's where you need someone with you saying, okay, go to God about it. Well, I've been saying for years. The thing about offence is, if what the person's saying is true, then you need it. If what the person's saying is wrong, then you need to pray for that person. From a Christian point of view, that's as simple as that. If what that person is saying is ridiculous, and you shouldn't be going anywhere near it, it means that person needs God's help. Because they're saying things that are dangerous, and they're saying things that are not of God. So therefore, they need your prayer. So getting offended, going to the pastor, and trying to get the person banned from church or whatever is not really. The way you should be dealing with it is praying for that person. You should be taking it to God first. But what do? They take it to their friends. They take it to the people that will back them. That's why I say, okay, go for it. My job is to find people that are of God and to share what God has given me with them. Simple. I've said all the while that the majority of people in church are not of God. So therefore they will not receive. Okay? Yeah. So the reality is, good, leave them to it. And that's the point now, leave them to it. The people that I've spoken to who have not received, who have... See, the point of it is, I'm not saying that people should simply receive. If people disagree, then fine, disagree. If people think that, if people want to ask questions about that, ask questions about it. But keeping your mouth shut when you're with me and then going behind my back to your friends or to your pastor and bitching, yeah, all you're showing is you're not of God. That's what you're showing. And if you're showing you're not of God, then I have no interest in speaking to you. Because for me, I have no interest in small talk. I said previously on the video that I was told because of who I am, because of the way I am, I'm alone. Because I'm going through this and that and the other, I'm alone. Okay, then I will be alone. But I have no interest whatsoever in small talk with people. I have no interest in saying things that are going to be kissing people's arse or, so how was your day today? Oh, lovely. I've no interest in that crap because it doesn't help. It doesn't serve anything at all. All it serves is a soul, and I'm not interested in serving people's soul. I know that people's soul is, in most cases, serving itself very, very well. Thank you very much indeed. So for me, I speak to the spirit. And if the soul gets offended by that, great. If you want to be led by your soul, go for it. It's only going to lead you to hell. But that's okay. It's like that person on Christmas Eve. If he wants to go around and saying, because I said to the pastor about him, about what he was saying. About, well, because the courts say it's true and because the newspapers say it's true, it must be true because they don't lie. The pastor just laughed. Because he knew just how ridiculous that is. But the point of it is, if that person wants to do that, they can do it. I said to the pastor, I said, well, the reason is because he works for the court. He thinks, obviously, the people he works for are going to be angels. They're going to be perfect. They're going to be as God is. God doesn't lie, neither will they. The fact that they are part of the world system in dealing with stuff, and the world belongs to the devil, so they're part of the devil's system to deal with stuff. And they're the opposite of God, because they want to judge, whereas God doesn't. Yeah. None of that is relevant. But there you go. It is what it is. And we are where we are. Yeah. In these things, we are exactly where we are. We let people do that. If this is the path he wants to choose, that man, then he can choose it. Yeah. If the pastor wants to choose a path where he says to someone that you're a very clever person, and because again, excuse me, if I'm a very clever person, then unless I'm right, why am I going to continue to tell people that I'm right, they're wrong? That sounds a bit blinking stupid. That doesn't sound like a clever person, does it, really? So if I'm a very clever person, then obviously that means that when I say that I'm right and you're wrong, it means I'm right and you're wrong. I was talking to him about him, really. Talking to him about the way that the church has done things. Yeah. Because for years and years and years I went to God about it. Why is it? Why are things as they are? Why is the church as it is? But then God showed me. Yeah, Times Magazine, is God dead? And the way the church reacted to that. His defence of that is he's gone to different denominations of churches and they're different to each other. And I said, yeah, but if you go to each of those denominations and go to churches that are of that denomination, they would look exactly the same. It's the same idea as the McDonald's system. They all employ. He said, well, okay, how would God do it then? And I like that. I like that. Well done to him for even asking that question, because that's a very important question to ask. And I said, well, if we're talking about this particular church, we can only really reference this church. God is going to be looking at who's in this church and who's out of this church. So the people that are inside and the people that are outside. What do they need? I said, so therefore, is it possible that a college can train anyone to know exactly, or to basically be the person that these people need? To talk the way they need that person to talk, that the way they act is what the people need a leader to do. Can the college do that? I said, there's no chance at all. The only way it could do that is have, 30 people teaching people, and it would cost too much to do that. So to make it cheaper, they teach 100 pastors to do things exactly the same way, or maybe 1,000, whatever, maybe 100,000, because that's the way they do things. It has to be cheap enough for people actually to go to those colleges to be trained. I said the problem is they can't know exactly what church you're going to and what these people in that church and outside that church actually need. But God knows exactly where you're going and what those people need. And so, in the end, the reality is, I wouldn't necessarily, it was a good conversation. It was more me telling him what God had shared. But then again, as I say, that is my responsibility to do that. There's plenty of time for small talk after the Lord comes back. Plenty of time. Plenty of time to find out about people's journeys. Again, I don't care about people's journeys who are not of God. Could not care less. The reason is quite simple. When I start to find people that are of God, there's so much work to be done with those people. I don't have the time. That's the reality. I don't have the time, I don't have the space in my mind to then worry about people that are not of God, or to care about their situation. That is not my concern in any way, shape or form. So someone who's an evangelist or someone who is a teacher, they shouldn't have much time to deal with other stuff because they should be busy. There's enough work to do to keep them busy. They shouldn't be thinking about people that are not supposed to be under them or whatever. They shouldn't care about that at all. So, in the end, that's the situation. I understand that I have no interest in being burnt out in 10 years' time. None at all. So many ministers have been burnt out because they've tried to carry this and that and this and that. No chance at all. I'm not going to do it. It is not my problem. Trying to be helping this person, that person, this person, that person. No. Too much really for me. I say, okay, Father, all the rest, you can put people there who it's their job to deal with them. Because this is the point. It ain't my job. So, you take care. God bless. I will speak to you soon. And, missing that thing tonight? That's fine because it's being done for about 5 hours. And that'd be 5 hours away from these doggies. And a bit too long, really, to leave them on their own. Especially as I don't want to be up until 2 in the morning by having to give them a decent play enough so they can sleep because they'll be sleeping during that 5 hours. So, I'm not missing a thing. It would have been tricky for me to do it. So, there you go. I wish you well. Be a blessing, be blessed, and have a fantastic 2025, because that's what we are entering now, isn't it? So, yeah. And I pray that your relationship with God will be blessed. Enjoy. Bye-bye.